Welcome back. All right, so some more news of the day for all you fine people for your Wednesday, January the 29th. And I know this is the day that I'm normally doing player power rankings, and that would have been done, but I've started pre-recording videos for while we're on vacation too. So player power rankings video, maybe I'll have one up later tonight. It's a 5-game night in the NHL. I could do that review, and then I can quickly do a player power rankings. And yeah, so that's what I'm thinking about maybe for tonight, and I want to do it a little bit different than I've done the other power rankings as well. Now, for the news, let's jump in, starting with St. Louis. So Saad cleared waivers, and the idea was, well, then he'll go to the AHL. No. He has been placed on unconditional waivers. So unconditional waivers means that they're terminating his contract. He has agreed with this. This is mutual termination of the contract. He's willing to sacrifice some money. And so once this has gone through and the contract's been terminated, this frees up Saad to sign somewhere at a bargain price. And I would imagine there'll be some teams looking for, a Brandon Saad, not at the $4.5 million cap hit he has currently with St. Louis, but if they can sign him for, say, $1.5 million or $1 million, there will be teams lining up for that. So my first thought was he's played in Colorado before. Chicago, I know Chicago's in the youth movement, though. Probably not going to go back to Chicago. And then the other team that came to mind for me was Carolina. Carolina's never shy about bringing in new players. But let me know your thoughts. Where do you think he ends up? Could the Rangers make a move for Saad? Could some other team that's in a playoff spot that might need another forward be looking at Saad as an attractive option? Again, with the cap hit he has with St. Louis, it's a less attractive option. But Saad, very likely to, if he signs for the rest of the season somewhere else, he's going to go somewhere he wants to have a chance to win a Stanley Cup. So let me know your thoughts. Grubauer has been waived by Seattle. So this is interesting because last night I was getting frustrated watching that game. And that's even though I was, rooting for Anaheim. I will fully admit I do like what Anaheim's been doing, and I'm rooting for the young players to do well. But there was at least a couple of those goals where I was like, you want to save there. And when you look at the numbers and compare Grubauer's to Decord's, as I said last night, you can see that if they had a backup that had numbers similar to Decord's, you might have a team that's threatening to be in or maybe in a playoff spot right now. And so them waiving Grubauer, I feel like it's I don't know if it's necessarily too late, but it definitely feels late. But yeah, so we'll see if somebody picks up Grubauer. I'm going to go out on a limb and say with his cap hit being 5.9 million, and there's still time left on that contract, I don't think anybody's picking that up. But once he's been waived and cleared waivers, you can then look at making a trade. It's as I've mentioned with other players too, that once you get them through that waiver process, they don't have to be placed back on waivers right away again. So if you trade them after that, the team that picks up that player can just put them right in the American Hockey League. And if Seattle retained as well on Grubauer, you might find a taker. So we'll see what happens there. Caden Guhle. So it's been revealed that he lacerated his quadricep muscle. That sounds extremely painful. And he had to have it surgically repaired, obviously, because it was lacerated. And that's what you do. You repair things that have been lacerated. He's out indefinitely. So we'll see what the timeline looks like for that. One positive with this with Montreal is they're so used to injuries over the years, especially the last few years, it seems. And they have depth on the blue line. So they're going to miss Guhle, absolutely. But I did mention in the news video earlier today that Strubal's been recalled. So for Montreal, it's going to be next man up. That's going to be the mentality from here. And they're going to miss Guhle. There's no doubt about that. Hopefully he's back relatively soon. And hopefully that's not as painful as it sounds. Because it sounds ridiculously painful. Dakota Joshua is returning for the Canucks tonight against the Preds, which is good news. The less good news, if you're a Canuck fan, is that Kiefer Sherwood's been placed on injured reserve. So he will not be in Nashville for this game against the Preds, and you know that if he could play, he'd go. Sherwood is definitely a player who throws a ton of hits, and when you play that style of hockey, there's going to be injuries here and there. The Canucks are definitely going to miss Sherwood. Joshua, on the other hand, having him back in the lineup, hopefully it's last year's Dakota Joshua. Last season, Dakota Joshua was fantastic. Matthew Knies has been placed on IR by the Toronto Maple Leafs. Pacioretty has been activated. He's returning tonight. So getting Pacioretty back in the lineup is good. Hopefully Knies isn't out that much longer. Stolarz is close. Stolarz not quite cleared as of yet, but I would be surprised if he's not cleared by this weekend, for instance. So Toronto getting a little bit healthier, but losing Nyes and having him on IR doesn't necessarily help. Kevin Ball with the Calgary Flames, of course, he is listed now as week to week, so he's dealing with an injury. And what do I always say with week to week? That's at least 2 weeks. So having Ball out of the lineup for Calgary, they are a team as well that has depth on the blue line. Tyson Barrie stepped in I don't want to say stepped in for Kevin Ball because they play a completely different role, but this is one of the reasons why you have Barrie there for depth, right? So we'll see how long Ball's out for. Utah, good news with Gunther. It looks like Dylan Gunther's nearing a return for them. He is now listed as day-to-day. Sean Dursey is practicing as well. Will be practicing with the team at any rate. But he is not expected back until after the 2-week break for Four Nations. And this is where things get interesting. So for teams that have a handful of games left, how many of them are going to decide, this guy's close, but we'll let them have that 2 weeks. We're not necessarily bringing them back now. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how teams handle this fact that they've got about a 2-week break there. For me personally, I'm headed down to California for the first week of the 2 weeks, but I don't expect everybody to be doing that. But there's going to be some that are going on vacation. I've already heard some NHL players are going on vacation because some of them might be willing to cancel those plans to go to Four Nations if/when we see other players can't go because of injury. Now, San Jose's been dealing with their share of injuries lately. This is why guys like Colin White are in their lineup. Costin, Sturm, Ruda, all three of them not expected to be back in the lineup for San Jose before that break. So the San Jose Sharks, who have had struggles, we shall say struggles for this season, and a lot of them, they're going to be without those players through the break. Granlund's status for their next game is not known as of yet. So Granlund will see, kind of a wait and see with him. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below regarding the news with Saad and regarding the news with Grubauer as well. Hit like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Thank you guys so much for your support as always. I will talk to you again soon.